Dan's a fantastic man. He really is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dan French, and this is a French Workbench podcast on a Tuesday. And we got a full crew. Everybody in here is ready to go, man. Everybody's amped up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Man, we've had a lot of good things happening right before we started. This is the most real and behind-the-scenes information regarding financing, real estate, money talk, entrepreneurs through on-job experience here in Las Vegas. And as always, guys, if you like the content, please hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel. We need the support. We're going to continue our path. It's a crusade now at this point to get to 1,000. And we're only 750 away, so I think we're getting close. So guys, thank you so much. I'm gonna first off introduce Matt Shield. Matt, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
Good,
I'm very
man.
well, thank you.
Yeah, what's been going on with you, man?
Bit of work, family, boys. Boys is family.
Yeah.
And just been really enjoying this weather. You know, the weather.
You said man in the cannon, though. What is that, man? Tell me what is that all about,
Well,
buddy?
when duty calls, you got to like blast it out. And so
you mean like clear the air or clear what? What are you talking about?
Whatever
clearing?
needs to be blasted out the way for my clients. And
so you've been blasting a lot, huh?
blasting a little bit.
So that's
bit.
all
So
right,
it's
man.
been good.
Any concerts? Anything going on?
No. Couple shows. I went to a show last time since I last saw you. I went to see Legends in Concert.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Which was okay. You know, Elton John was pretty good.
Yeah.
George Michael was good.
Oh, you see George Michael, huh?
Well, they're like impersonators.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
But
they didn't bring him back.
Queen,
Right? That's
Freddie
what I thought.
Mercury didn't quite have the oomph.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
but it was decent.
you weren't impressed, I guess.
No,
is
it
what
was
you're saying.
okay.
Oh, it's okay.
And then Frank Marino, who hosts it as Joan Rivers, and by now I didn't know this, but it's the longest running show on the Strip.
Okay.
And
You know what? I
he
thought
wasn't
it was
that funny.
Really?
It wasn't that funny.
I thought it was like Blue Man Group. I've always seen them. And then, I mean, how long is that Cirque du Soleil where they have it over at the Mirage?
Mystere is the longest running show.
Treasure Island.
Treasure
Yeah,
Island.
Mystere's open again, and in my opinion, that's the best Cirque du Soleil show, Mystere.
So
in
we
my
also,
opinion.
we also have Mr. Rich Solis. He's
Hey,
back, buddy.
guys.
What's happening, man?
Not too much. Not too much going on here. Just keeping my nose at the grindstone, working, trying to get business going. Same old. I've been trying to think about anything exciting going on in my life. I do have tickets to go see John Fogerty in a few weeks, so I'm looking
there you
forward
go.
to that.
Yeah.
cool.
Is he a funny guy? Because I've never really saw any of his stuff.
He's not really. He's not a comedian.
He's not a comedian. What is he?
Who is
He's
he?
the lead
I
singer
don't
of-
even know who he is.
So he was the lead singer of Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a
So-
comedian or
no,
something.
No,
He could be a funny guy. We don't know.
So basically, it's like seeing CCR and stuff like that.
Okay.
But he did, like, they did Fortunate Son and Bad Moon Rising, and they actually wrote and performed Proud Mary before Tina Turner did it, but she does a much better version of it.
So Creedence Clearwater. How long ago was that?
She's got
That's like the
legs.
70s, the
Okay.
late 60s, early 70s. But
Mike
they're-
would know about this,
But, I mean,
huh?
they're really. I mean, I will still be honest with you. I got a lot of my music taste from my dad. And he's born in the 40s, so he's up there. But he introduced me to them when I was a kid, and I've always loved Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Mike, you've been in the. By the way, guys, folks out there, this is Mike Keeler. He's with Peak Financial Solutions. What's up, Mike?
me.
What's going on, buddy?
Living the American dream, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you know Creedence Clearwater, I'm sure, right?
Oh yeah, personally.
Personally. How many concerts you hit up, Mike?
You know, gosh, I haven't counted.
You haven't counted, but
Last one I saw-
were you like that type of person in that that type of rock music when you were younger? Kind of like
I like more classic rock, Beatles, Stones.
okay,
I've been to a few Dead shows.
okay.
You know, different things. Last concert I saw was Paul McCartney.
Okay.
And he actually was a funny guy. So
Paul McCartney.
Yeah, I don't think he'd make a living as a comedian, but I enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
So, that was good.
And we also have our guest of honor. and she's here, and she's ready to go, and she's sitting on the sidelines over here. We got her name
Not
is
for long.
Jamie. What's going on, Jamie? How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. And we got a lot of information that we want to kind of get from Jamie. I'm sure we want to talk a little bit about what she does and where Las Vegas is at, and maybe give her insight on this. First, we're going to talk a little bit about housing, right? We're going to talk about this later in the show. We're going to talk about her first, excuse me. But in housing later in the show, we're going to talk about U.S. hits, all-time highs again for homes. We're also going to talk about what's happening here in Las Vegas, and Matt can give us some insight about what's going on. I can kind of give you some insight, maybe some things, some challenges. You know what? I was looking at some information, and this last month was the first month that we started to decline in sales as far as compared year over year. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So, but first, let's talk with Jamie. All right. Everybody out there wants to know who Jamie is and what Jamie's about. So Jamie, let's talk to you. Where are you from?
I'm from Oregon,
Okay.
and I moved here about 4 years ago.
Okay. What made you decide Vegas was my destination?
I came here for New Year's Eve, 2016 to 17, to kind of have a good time with my friends who had moved here, a bunch of circus performers.
Yeah.
And I woke up on New Year's Day and said, I'm moving here.
And you said you're moving here. And you said, I mean, was it just, like for me, it was weird because when I was a kid, my uncle lived here. We had like other people live here. And it was just, there was so much energy in the city, right? It just, you felt it. And I always felt like, I want to be out there, right? I was like 12, but you know how it is. You look at the strip and you're like, okay.
You were an early starter.
Yes, I was an early starter. Absolutely. And you look at it and you're like, man, I want to be a part of that vibe, And I don't know, a lot of people come to Vegas, it's not for them. And usually you kind of figure that part out in about a year or so, usually.
Yeah.
So what made you feel like, hey, this is where I want to be and where I want to stay?
I think I was just ready for a change after living in Portland for so long. I didn't really feel like there was much there for me anymore. And I'm a person who very much follows my gut instinct on things. And to just wake up and say, I'm going to move to Vegas was like, oh, of course I'm going to do this. And if my friends say to me, you're crazy, I know I'm really on the right path.
Right.
There you go.
So that's like,
But is it almost like a dare, right? Like, I dare you to do this, right? And then you kind of like, you know what? I'm going to meet that dare and I'm going to exceed it.
Kind of, yeah.
Right?
Like I definitely like a challenge.
Right.
But I think people didn't want me to leave Portland for selfish reasons. Or, oh, you're going to leave us. And I was like, no, I'm going to really go and check this out. And I had no plan when I was moving here.
Right. So you do a lot of entertainment. You're on the Strip. You do a lot of things next to the Strip. So you seen COVID was terrible. I mean, it shut everything down. Do you feel like Vegas? You're back. You're down there. I don't ever go there. Do you ever go to the Strip, Matt?
On occasion, just to catch a show or meet a client. Not.
You're not like somebody that just goes down there every week,
Not
like a
in and
weekend
out.
warrior.
No, that I used to be, but
Yeah.
no longer.
Rich, you go down to the Strip, man?
Maybe like once every couple months for something. I was there maybe like 5-6 weeks ago, but what did we do again? I can't remember.
Right.
Oh, I can't remember what we did though when we went down there. And it's
Kind of a difficult situation.
No.
Did you
actually,
drink too much?
No. Actually,
Oh.
I went with my sister and my nieces, and we did something like fun oriented with the kids. I just can't remember what we did. I do remember we went to the Ghirardelli Square afterwards, though.
Okay.
And go to the Ghirardelli ice cream shop and get milkshakes. That was
Is
pretty
that in the
good.
Venetian?
Well, that's important.
But I can't remember what we did
Is
before.
that in the
Shoot.
Venetian?
No, it's at the Link actually.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
and then I think we were gonna go on the Big Eye,
On the
but
high
for,
roller?
Yeah.
for some reason we didn't go that day for some reason. But I can't remember what we went down there for.
So, Mike, are you a weekend warrior at the Aria?
Oh, totally.
oh yeah, he looks like it, doesn't he?
He looks like he would
Yeah.
be. He would be a guy hanging out at the beach.
Watch out for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
watch
or not the
out.
beach. He'd be at the pool. You're a pool person, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I tan very well. All these freckles. Yeah. I go down for shows, hockey games.
Dude, everybody's
Yeah.
all about the sports right now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Vegas is just thriving.
We had
It's
3
amazing.
big games here this weekend just passed.
Yeah.
And
Did you go to any of that, or were you a part of any of the festivities?
I was working, and
Okay.
I had an offer to go to the Raiders Stadium, but I couldn't go because I'm not vaccinated. So,
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. You can't. You can only go if you're vaccinated
That's
to the
right.
Raiders.
It even
but not the Knights.
Yeah,
Not the Knights.
yeah.
So why is that like?
That's a
how is that-
management owner decision.
Is that really?
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
think the Raiders are the only team in the NFL that's
There's a lot of
done
pushback.
it so
Really?
far.
There's a lot
That's
of pushback.
I
interesting.
think
Yeah.
maybe.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to ownership. It's not like a city thing. Like it's
No.
not like, okay, guys,
No.
Sisolak came out and said anybody that's going to,
No.
sports venues, it's
But it was packed. Town was packed, and I had to navigate across town like twice for like work.
sure.
And it was hard work. Like, be prepared now for a little bit more traffic on game days.
So Jamie, let's talk to you for a second. Okay, you're down by the strip. You're seeing the vibe down there. And when did your indication feel like, okay, Vegas is coming back and my stuff is gonna, my work, everything's gonna start to come back?
It was kind of a slow trickle. There wasn't like a big, grand opening or anything like
Right.
that. And when I go to work, I just kind of tunnel vision my way to work and just
Absolutely.
ignore everybody. But the demographic has definitely changed down there.
Yeah.
There's not as many high rollers as there used to be.
Really?
Well, maybe now it's changed a little bit, but a while back that was kind of the vibe, that it was a lot of people.
We don't
who,
have
like,
the international tourists on back.
Yeah,
Next
they're like
month.
rich on unemployment, and they're like, we're going to Vegas to spend money.
Yeah, they're cheap as well.
Yeah.
So it's not the normal traditional style people that come here with money. I mean, I remember when you go down there, you could just feel money, but I feel like there's a lot of people that come here because they had opportunity, cheap rooms. They
Yeah.
were trying to give away everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, yeah, it came back, but it didn't change. Life didn't go back to normal.
I
right?
don't think rooms are cheap anymore, though.
Well, they're
going
not
back?
they're not anymore, but they were, and I think that's
Yeah,
what it
yeah,
was
they were.
attracting. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
hey
yeah.
guys, come here and we'll give you,
Yeah.
whatever. We'll give you. Usually, it's like we'll give you so much money to go gamble too. To
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
bunch of things. So, so you see Vegas coming back, or you see obviously it's almost at full capacity. Would you think that would be where it's at right now? Like, are we back to where before pre-COVID?
I feel like had I just come as a tourist and not known what it looked like before, I would think that it was open, that it was like
Sure.
full on going off. And that's how people are behaving too. They're behaving like, we're here to party, we want to go out.
Yeah.
So it's seemingly so things are like open and thriving.
So when you said you were from Oregon, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at Vegas and you look at Oregon, right, and it's completely different places, obviously. Is Vegas everything you thought it would be, or it's actually more than you thought it would be?
I want to say it's more than I thought it would be.
Really?
I really love my life here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I go to Portland to visit a lot. So I don't feel a void in my life of like my Oregon life. I kind of feel like I have a little dual residency.
I see. So you feel like you have obviously, how long would you say you stay out here more often than not? You're traveling back and forth, but is there like a certain amount of months that you probably go back to Oregon, or is it predominantly here? Like,
I'm mostly here. The first year that I lived here, I think out of the first year I was only in Vegas for about 3 of the months. I was flying so much. I think I took like 79 flights in 2019.
Okay.
So I was gone quite a bit.
Yeah. So guys, folks out there, the reason we brought her on is she gets paid cash, right? And she gets a lot of tips. She gets a lot of money. And when you talk about lending and loans, there's a lot of people don't understand that there's options out there for people that may not report, all the money that they have, right? Tax returns, they don't report that, right? Because let's say they want to save money, they want to just write some income off, or they don't want to show everything. We do have bank statement programs where if you show money being deposited on a consistent basis, she's a perfect example of that. And also too, if you don't know how to get started on trying to get set up to getting into a loan, then maybe you would say, okay, where do I start, right? And that's kind of your thought is, how do I get started on this, and what am I supposed to claim? That's the first question, right? Everybody says, well, what am I supposed to claim? How much should I claim, right? So you being somebody that, I would say you're an entrepreneur. Would you say that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Matt, would you say that?
For sure, she's definitely an entrepreneur.
And so you know her, right, Matt? How did you guys meet?
Actually,
Say it.
I'm
Say
curious.
it.
there was a small window where I was on a dating app
Okay.
a long time ago,
Okay.
and then we just we became friends on Instagram, and
Sure.
and then she's very interesting, and I'm interesting, and we're
And you
having an
guys
interesting conversation.
Yeah, and you guys just hit it off. So you guys known each other for a while then, I'm assuming, huh?
Not really.
Not really.
No. Okay.
No. But
Okay.
I firmly believe that with Jamie's experience, and like she could offer some insight to listeners about like a different aspect of like Vegas life and like making it here and becoming a homeowner.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking is, if you're somebody out there that moves here, I think the big challenge is, first off, do you want to be here? Then you think, okay, do I have an established line of income, right? So do I have consistent income? Is it going to be good for buying a home? And then how do I get into the home? And so somebody out there like yourself, you're out there looking to buy a house, and you're like, okay, do you have any like doubt about this market as far as buying a house right now? Do you feel like you have some caution?
I don't. I mean, I'm kind of a cannonball sort of person, so I would have no problem buying another house right now.
Yeah, I mean, is it something that you came here and you're like, you know what, that's not on the agenda, or is it something that Is it?
Yeah. When I was living in Portland, the last few years that I was there, I knew that I wanted to buy a house, and when I decided to move here, it just like all shifted over. So I decided to rent here for a year before, just learning the neighborhoods and see where I wanted to live. But it has been my trajectory for 5 years previous to buying. So about 8 years ago is when I was like, oh, I'm going to start thinking about this.
So what do you think some of the challenges that a lot of people don't know about, like when you buy a house? Like a lot of people are like, well, how much is the down payment, and how much do I need to claim? And I mean, do those things even pass your mind, or is it like, you know what, I just know I want that, and then whatever? Because there's a lot of steps. I feel like. Right.
For people who are like me, who are getting paid cash, the biggest challenges for them is just to pay taxes. Is just to file and have to fork over a huge chunk of money every year.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're doing that out of pocket. And it's like kind of devastating in a way. And you're like, I don't want to do this. So you like rethink, well, am I gonna claim everything, or am I gonna just budget a little bit? But you have to look good on paper if you want to get a good loan.
Yeah, so, I mean, you got to look good.
You've got to plan it out.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to plan it out, and it could take it's going to take 2 years, because am I correct, Dan, in that you need 2 years tax returns? Yeah,
what people don't understand is there's a bank statement program out there that you can take an average of 2 years, right?
Of deposits.
Of deposits. There's even one for 12 months. So if you're depositing money and you're not showing it, then you can see that we can obviously give you a bank statement program. You usually have to have a higher rate, though. It's not a traditional way of getting a loan.
What's a higher rate? Your
like right
not
now,
holding
what's a high rate?
Like say 2.75 versus
No. I think it's higher than that.
That's a good rate. But like, what's a higher rate?
Well, a higher rate is the bank is going to pass
5.5.
I would say, maybe even higher than that.
Yeah.
Because the bank is looking at it going, look, you can't get this loan, right? You can't get into a house right now. I know that. I'll help you, but you're gonna pay for it, right? And so the risk is passed to the consumer. So in a situation like her, she's a bank statement program, or she's gonna come to me and say, Dan, I'm a cash, I get tips, I get all this money. I don't want to show everything, but what do I need to do to get into a house at $400,000, right? How much money do I? Well, what's your, then I'm going to say, well, let's pull your credit and see. But those things may be your foot in the door until maybe you have a position to refinance, or let's say you didn't show enough income, and we do the bank statement program. Well, guess what? We all know, everybody always asks, well, is this the time to buy a home? I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you think right now?
For sure it is. For sure. Because I don't see, with the influx of people here and with the shortage of available space in the valley. Sure. Like, the valley is filling up.
Well, it's filling up, but everybody thinks that this market's is going to start to taper off. Well, and look, we're starting to see these numbers. I just pulled some reports. Mm-hmm. One of the reports was showing that active listings, right, and also property sold was the first time it's decreased year over year this last month. Mm-hmm. And it's showing that, is the demand there? Sure. But is the amount of buyers still out there willing to go crazy amounts of money over?
They're not. It's stopped.
It's gone.
It's stopped.
If you looked at the chart in July and you looked at it in August, it was above 100%. So they got like this chart where it goes up to 100%. And it's like, are people getting what they're listing their home for? Right?
Yeah.
You go back a year, it was like 90, 97, 98%, right? Is what So what it's saying is buyers are getting what they want, and then all of a sudden in June and July and August, boom, it's like crazy, like 115. So it's off the charts. Now, the good news is that this is starting to come the other direction. Is it going to be a continuous pattern, or is it for your situation?
I mean, like, what's going to be pivotal? Well, not pivotal, but it's just going to be an indication of sales data. Is that at the end of this month, we'll close out September, 30 days in September.
You're right.
And then we'll have so the past 2 months, the median home price has been flat at 405. And, it's either going to be flat again, it's going to go up a bit, or it's going to go down a bit. We'll know in a couple days.
I mean, you guys see these numbers, they're record numbers.
Yeah.
Does it scare you out there, or does it scare people about buying a house?
I mean, I think it's just that things have changed a lot here in the last couple of years, and a lot of people are real happy about it because they've seen the value of their home go up a lot. And a lot of people have grown a lot of wealth in the last few years. But of course, there are those people who haven't maybe had the ability to purchase yet, and they've seen the prices go up a lot in the last year, and they feel like, did I miss the boat? I think that's definitely the question and then of course there's always the, is it going to come down? Is it going to come down? Should I hold off? Should I hold off? And I know we've had this discussion, a lot, I'm sure, on the show and, with our friends and family and our clients and things like that. I am very excited, or I'm very interested to see the numbers though when they come out in a few days.
Do you feel like it's
really
changing though?
How so? Do you think that anything's changed in the last couple months?
I just feel there's a different energy, like it's slowing down, and then look at, I know.
Well, we went from
I
red
would say
hot
this.
to,
I would say this is that I don't think it's different energy. I would say that the sellers, if you imagine it like a race, like the sellers were pulling away from the buyers, and the buyers were chasing them and then offering more to catch them, but that's all stopped now, and then in the higher price points, it's calm down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, another thing that I've observed is that it's neighborhood specific. Someone will have a record sale where it's a really good looking house, and it's the bells and whistles and really amazing. And then other people in the neighborhood that have mediocre homes see that, and they're like, oh, I think I can get 600 as well.
Right.
But they can't, and it's sitting.
Yeah.
And so everything's calmed down, and the impulsivity and frenetic behavior of buyers, in my opinion, has ceased. Mm-hmm. However, a good looking home that is the best home in the neighborhood will go in nanoseconds if it's priced fairly high, but not $100,000 too much.
Right.
They'll go in 3 seconds, like the pool homes. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's good for a change, and I think.
So it is changing. You feel it is changing.
One
right?
thing that I think that normally happens for me is that some people crawl out the woodwork, and there's some urgency because they need to close because they're relocating here for the tax year.
Yeah.
So I hope that we get some of that. Well, I hope from a couple of my listings anyway. But we'll just, we'll keep going. The weather's beautiful. It's magical weather, and it's time to do some real estate magic in the last quarter.
Absolutely. Mike, what about you? I mean, you feel like there's a change, you're in financial planning, but you have a pretty vast knowledge of what's going on here in Vegas with all of the things happening in the market. You feel like it's starting to change here?
Well, I look at the same numbers as you guys, and if numbers aren't moving up anymore, that's often the sign that we're at the top of a cycle here. So, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to see things start trending downward for a bit.
Yeah.
We're not going to have that huge crash that we had in 2008, 2009 because nobody does stupid mortgages anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
But there could just be an influx. Maybe rents start going downward, or who knows, and that could affect rental properties, and we'll see.
Jamie, are you this market? I know you want to buy, and I know you.
No, she's bought.
You already bought?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you didn't buy.
No, I would say I
No,
wouldn't
she's-
hesitate to buy again.
Yeah.
Oh, would you hesitate at this point? Like if you,
No.
you would
So-
just jump
I
in.
would go in. Yeah.
Jamie, have you noticed with your work, have you been affected by inflation? And are you allowed to charge more when you're working?
Well, I mean,
And have you noticed a change in the energy?
what I charge for my work has not changed because I know my value, and so I get what I ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a very convincing personality. Like you're very much an entrepreneur. So like if you want something and you're not going to go cheap, right?
No.
Same with a house. You're probably not going to go cheap on buying a home. You're going to whatever you want, you're going to go get it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that something that it's weird because I think a lot of people come to Vegas. It's intimidating. You know, were you intimidated coming to Vegas?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. I knew it's where I wanted to be,
Okay.
and I was just really happy about the change, and the opportunity to buy a house here was greater for me than it was in Oregon.
Really? Why is that?
Is Portland
The prices
expensive?
of
Portland's very
are
Yeah,
expensive.
it's cute houses though.
Yeah, the home that I
they're out
lived
of
in
control.
before I moved down here, I had talked with the landlords about purchasing, and then they were like, no. And then finally, right before I left, they said, oh, we might be willing to sell to you. And I said, well, I'm moving. And I'm glad that I did buy a house here because I don't think I would have been happy with a home in Portland.
Although they do have basements,
Yeah, basements
which
flood.
is kind of cool. Well, okay,
Yeah,
that's maybe a
I've
downside.
lived in a house with a flooded
that's a
basement.
downside.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that fun?
Hey, my girl went out to Oregon and she said it was gorgeous. She said it was one of the best, and she wants to go back.
She must have been there in the summertime then.
She was, yeah. And she said it was amazing, and she's like, I want to go back and I want to see, because there's a lot of green, there's a lot of history that people don't really know about, and I feel like it's one of those states that kind of gets overlooked a little bit on destinations to go travel and go visit. Would you say that Oregon's like that?
If overlooked, I don't know. It depends on, I don't know what the tourist is
Like
there.
if you're looking for an outdoor environment,
Definitely. I mean, there's a lot you can do there. And Eastern Oregon is, very different than the West Coast and the mountains and everything. It gets very dry and arid if you go further east.
Yeah, I lived up in Eugene for 10 years, and it was really awesome because you could go to the coast one weekend and go up in the mountains the next weekend. We had a little tent trailer, and we'd go camping in different places, and it was really cool because, within an hour or so, I'd have the tent trailer set up and drinking a nice microbrew up there. And it was always a different campground that we'd go to. Here, you don't have those options.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's campgrounds around here, but it's all desert.
It's all desert, yeah.
You go up
but
to
Utah.
Utah.
It's the same
Utah.
couple different
yeah,
ones.
Yeah. You got to get up to Utah or go to California.
They
Yeah.
have a few
but
campgrounds
you
in
have
Mount
to-
Charleston, though.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, I've been up there and don't want to go again.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Whereas Oregon, gosh, there are just hundreds of them.
oh yeah, they're everywhere, especially
and-
around Mount
Yeah.
Hood. It's great.
Yeah, well, Mountain Hood, Willamette Pass, all sorts of great places. But we just don't have that here. And who wants to go stay in the middle of the desert? Not me.
I do. I love the desert. Put me
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
So you look at Vegas. What's your favorite place to eat in Vegas? Do you have like a spot? Because everybody wants to know like where's these destinations at? Because Vegas has got a lot to offer.
Yeah. One of my favorite sushi places is Kaya Sushi.
Okay.
And there's a
Is that on 215 and
Spring Mountain.
Oh,
It's
okay.
over there. And
okay?
I like this Thai restaurant called Komol, Komol. I
Okay.
don't know if I'm saying it right. Off of Charleston something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I eat at home a lot. I cook my own meals. Yeah.
But I mean, I think sushi's like one of my favorite foods to eat.
I just love all you can eat sushi, and it is abundant here.
Oh, you do
Yeah.
all you can eat.
Most of the time, but there's other Japanese restaurants that I'll go to.
Wow.
I went to there's a sushi restaurant in Chinatown that has one of the conveyor belt. And
really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you start off and you think, wow, this is really good. It's only $2 or $3 per plate, and then you start piling up the plates.
10 plates later.
No, like 150 plates, 100. Like you just go, oh, that one. And it's
Yeah.
quite fun because it like if you order a specialty dish, it comes out on like a little special little chute.
I see.
But then everything else rotates and you just grab what you want. You know, it's
The
pretty
best
fun.
place I've eaten sushi, right, was it's right next to the Aria. What is that casino called? Next to the Aria?
Next
Cosmo?
to the area.
No, it was an Asian casino before.
Oh, Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Now it's a
so
Waldorf
makes sense.
Astoria.
is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, when it was the Mandarin,
That's spendy.
well, I'm going to explain. So
Okay.
I had a
Fancy,
another
man,
person
very
I was dating
fancy.
at the time, and they actually
really?
yeah they got hooked up where he was a famous boxer, right?
Oh,
And
okay.
then so the famous boxer, he was admired by this guy that has a ton of money. I think he was from Japan or something.
You dated a famous boxer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did. No, I'm just, it's just like, no, my girl had a friend that was a friend of the famous boxer.
Okay.
And so we got all invited and we all went down to the Mandarin. I'm telling you right now, they shut the restaurant down. I think that's got to be at least 10, 15 G's, right? To do that, I think, right? Shut it down. And then they're sitting there cutting the sushi right there and everything's catered directly to you. There was only like 8 of us. I'll tell you what, man, that was the best sushi I ever eaten in my life. And it's something I will always remember.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So
That's cool.
you got any spots or places like that where you just, Jamie, you're like out there and you're
My
like,
kitchen, that's the spot.
That's your
I'll
kitchen?
cook you guys dinner, and you'll be like, "This is the best
Well, let's
dinner
go.
Jamie's ever cooked us."
you're a home cooked girl then. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
You do all that stuff home cooked?
for the most part.
Yeah.
Portland, I can tell you all my favorite places in Portland, but here I'm like, I'll go out to eat a little.
Well, we're very
McMenamins.
spoiled for choice here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Like super spoiled.
Right.
For culinary delight.
Right. Do you so what's your favorite casino?
I don't think I have one.
So you just you
Yeah.
casino hop?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me think. Favorite casino. I mean, the ones I don't work at, because those are the ones that I see all the time. I don't know. I kind of have a soft spot for just like the Jerry Springer type casinos, like the ones that is just like toothless and stretch marked and just
Matt, can you elaborate on that, Matt? Like what
Jerry
she's talking.
Springer
Jerry,
No, I'm,
Jerry
I'm more
Springer-
like Montel. This is not my child.
So you like the Jerry Springer?
just
You know
like
what? I
the
saw
kind of
him, man.
The rundown.
I used to do that. There was I used to go
Flamingo.
when I played rugby. When I played rugby, we would always hang out at that Irish casino next to Flamingo.
Right.
Oh,
What's it called? O'Shea's.
Yeah.
That's a solid shithole.
It's been a number of things. It started off as Barbary Coast, and then
Yeah, but good for St.
O'Shea's, and now
Patty's
it's-
Day. Good for St. Patty's
Yeah,
Day.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
now it's the Cromwell.
The Cromwell is Barbary. Barbary Coast.
O'Shea's
Barbary
is-
Coast is now the Cromwell.
Yeah.
O'Shea's is like down a bit.
Oh, the other side. Okay.
But even the link is like kind of fancy,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's sort of fancy, isn't it?
I think so. I
like,
think they've
sort of-
upgraded.
they've upgraded
quite a
it
bit.
all.
I
The
feel a
old Imperial
different vibe
Palace?
down there.
Huh?
The old Imperial Palace.
Yeah, that was like a
And it was
proper
the
shithole.
quad for a stopover before
Yeah.
it became the link, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
like
Have you been
Exactly.
into the Oyo since it's been transformed from Hooters to Oyo?
No, I haven't yet.
It's just like Hooters in disguise. They just put on like a
I really
fur coat and called
different
it Oyo.
T-shirts.
It's the same.
Do they still have the big guns?
The bazooks.
Someone might need to man the
I
cannon.
think they have the Hooters restaurant inside there.
No, I'll tell you what, man. That's a good casino, the Hooters, right? Is there still
Well, it's
Hooters
the
on there?
Oyo now.
They lost their
Yeah,
arse.
it's
They
like
never
the-
made
yeah.
it.
That tells you how much I go down to the strip
Yeah.
because I don't. Everything's gone that I used to
Did
know.
you say it's called the Oreo?
the Oyo.
Oyo.
Oh,
Oyo.
I was
Oyo.
thinking of like chocolate Oreo.
Yeah.
That might be better.
Yeah, exactly.
So going back to it, so we all agree that the housing market's starting to make a change. So you look at a lot of the stuff like you have a lot of cash.
Thank you.
Would you ever? You do. She's balling over here. So apparently she wants to buy a second or maybe an investment property, right? Is that what you were thinking? Maybe.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. See, and Matt, are you going to help her with that? I mean, as far as finding that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like for investment properties at the moment, like if you look at it from a yield-based perspective, the yields aren't great. They're not great.
Yeah.
There's better yields in other markets, but for somewhere to like stash your cash and have it in a secure asset, like a home is like a robust place to park your cash, and you will get appreciation in like the equity value. But I did a lot of acquisitions for hedge funds
You did. Yeah.
for rentals, and you know, when I look at the yields now, like it's like they're not fantastic, but it's better than like it's sitting in a bank account.
Sure.
Well, you know, that's interesting. I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal. They were talking about a lot of these big tech companies buying huge buildings just to park money. And Google bought one in Manhattan.
But they're getting okay. So there's two different things happening here. Is like as a individual investor, a hedge fund it makes more sense for a hedge fund to buy a rental investment at a higher price because they virtually get their money for free. Well, right? They've got access to like capital from the Federal Reserve for like peanuts, and like an individual investor will buy a home for like rental income for while they're alive. But like a hedge fund looks at that asset and they're like, well, we're going to buy this house. We're going to have it forever. We're borrowing money. We're getting it for peanuts. So they don't look at it. They look at it like for a way longer like payback than Jamie might or I might buying a rental.
Right.
So, I mean, with the way hedge funds are set up now and institutional investors on Wall Street are set up, like it's the deck is set for like them to buy everything and for us all to become renters. And, you know, so...
Do you feel like that's happening now where you got these hedge fund investors coming in and buying properties just to rent out and really...
Oh, it's happening
taking away the opportunity, from families or people that are trying to come in and buy as a primary residence. It's driving these prices up.
That's happening. That's happening. And
that's
it's
something
a sad
to think
business.
about, man.
Yeah, I mean...
It's not just confined to housing, but that's another
No,
discussion.
but like the thing is, it's the way of the world now, but you've got to make sure your shelter makes sense and you're happy with where you're at. And like for buying a rental investment, you got to look at the yield because like what else could you do with that money?
So Matt, just because you're talking about yields,
I'm looking at other markets at the moment that I'm not going to talk about because I haven't been there yet.
That was my question.
Right. But there's other places in America where you can still buy like a 2,000 square foot house for like 150 grand. But like that's not in Vegas because a 2,000 square foot house now is going to cost you like the median home price is 405,000.
Like Elko?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be up in Elko. I'm sure it's very nice, but some of the hills have eyes.
That's where I'm from.
So there's some things that's come out recently about, there's data and information that I always look at and try to collect. And it's interesting because Las Vegas has a lot of people coming from Canada. West side of Canada, a lot of people from China, right? They're coming here, planting their money. Okay. No, I'm talking about investing in homes.
Oh, okay.
And they're planting their money here. And Canada, crazy, right? So there's programs out there for Canada or for foreign national, but it's interesting because you've seen Evergrande, right? That's in China, and they're
300 billion hole.
Yeah, they overbuilt like crazy. Is that going to impact where you're going to have more people coming here to plant their money in the United States?
Is that such huge numbers are being thrown around now, like $1 trillion here, $7 trillion for Afghanistan. That when I read that article about Evergrande and they're $300 billion in debt, and that there's going to be like big I think they employ indirectly 3.8 million people in China, and they've got exposure to all different types of Chinese banks, and they're mentioning that it might affect the global economy. But when I saw that number, 300 billion written down, I thought to myself, oh, that's not that much.
That's a lot. That's crazy. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say,
we just throw big numbers around willy-nilly these days.
Do you guys think this is going to affect our economy here, and in what way? Because they're talking about that's 30. Like I think it was 30% of their economy is.
So the 300 billion debt, that company accounts for 2% of the GDP of the country.
Of the whole country.
Of China,
right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's a big number. I mean, it's not gonna collapse their economy, but
all they need a big hit on some fidget spinners, they'll be okay.
They'll be good to go.
The next big thing.
Right. But you look at their situation. I mean, they're going to the government and asking them for the same thing we had in the crash back in 2007 and 8
but
when we had our own crash.
Company.
Yeah, but they have such a huge conglomerate of problem. They overbuilt crazy amounts of properties and buildings. So I don't know. I mean, to me, I think it's
know. I mean, it's above my like economic like expertise, but I don't know. But we'll see. You know,
Well,
I don't
it's going to
know.
be
I
really
don't know.
interesting because
I
a
don't know.
lot of the average Chinese were buying bonds through the banks, and they're buying these, and so this can be affecting the average Chinese person.
I think what we need to be more concerned about is the logjam of shipping containers at the ports at the moment.
Well, there are
Because
a lot of
Christmas
things.
is coming, and we need those shelves at Walmart filled up with plastic from China.
Absolutely.
Well,
What do you think,
Lowe's already has the Christmas trees out, so
I know, eh?
Yeah. they'll
exciting.
somehow it'll happen.
merchandising.
So you guys all agree then that that's not. Do you think? What about you, Rich? You think that's going to impact us? I mean, as far as this overbuilt, because we're all connected.
Well,
at
I
this point.
mean, I had read that just a few weeks ago. I'd read an article about these overbuilt cities in China that they were starting to fill up. So I'm not acutely aware of this
With
what you call
COVID.
Evergrande situation. no, but they had said that they had built like these basically
Yeah.
these
But
these ghost cities,
Well,
and that they were now starting to
what a
fill
lot
up.
of Chinese people they want to own property, and so they will buy an extra apartment in another city just so they own it. They like buying gold and they like buying property, but the thing is they may not even be using this property and they can't rent it out. So they're hoping
Versus-
it'll appreciate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then too, though, I know that they have pretty strict controls on how much you can take, how much you as a Chinese citizen can take out of the country at any given time, over like an annual basis too.
The average person, I
Right.
think
So-
if you're connected, there are other ways.
So I mean, I don't know how big of an impact the internal situation in China is going to be having on us as far as that goes with like the average investor, but.
Well, what we could see is fewer Chinese people buying houses in Vegas.
Yeah, but we do have but I was just and I was very shocked to hear this just recently, but we have the third largest Asian population of any city in the United States.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
After
that
New
might-
York and San Francisco?
No, after San Jose, it was like I think it was after Los Angeles and San Jose or something like that.
interesting.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I think it was Los Angeles and then San Jose because San Francisco's not actually that big. It's only like 750,000 people. But yeah, we have like the third largest in the entire country. So that could probably if that's going to affect anyone, I would expect it would affect us more than other parts of the country.
There's
got to
be confidence
It'll be
here, right?
interesting, yeah.
But
I
if
mean-
they're a big part of our real estate buyers, and you know that by Spring Mountain and all the number of real estate management agencies down there, they're going to make an impact on our market probably.
Sure.
So we talked about investment. I want to go back to here, Jamie. Jamie, so are you buying this property because of fear of the unknown? Like you think that you're going to miss the boat where you're not going to get your shot? I mean, I think a lot of people are doing that, right? They're trying to buy into a property because they're
Buying it out of panic?
They're buying out. They're panic mode. You know what I mean? They're just like, hey, you know what? If I don't buy now, this same property, which I agree, if you see how the numbers, it's going to go. But are you really ready to buy it, or are you just buying because you don't want to miss out, and then you may not be able to buy in 2 or 3 years?
There's no fear of the unknown or anything like that. It's just something that I actually started thinking about recently when it comes to owning a second piece of property. I don't have retirement. I never had that set up in my life, and I'm 43 now, and so I'm like, oh, what the heck am I going to do? So it's part investment, part just kind of planning for like whatever my greater future is.
Right.
But there's no rush in my life to do that right now. It could happen next year. It could happen in 4 years. Who
Right.
knows? And maybe it won't even happen here. I might go to somewhere else for New Year's and decide to leave.
And just say, I'm out,
I'm
Vegas.
out.
Peace.
See ya. And I'll keep my home here, and then
Yeah.
I'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah, and you can always rent it out here. And see,
So can we talk about Jamie's home?
yes, let's talk about it.
So it's got a really cool backyard,
Okay.
and
So wait a second. You've been to Jamie's home.
I have seen her house.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
So, but then the interesting thing is, which I didn't see, but
And-
you mentioned it to me, was that the people you bought the house off of.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you care to elaborate?
So,
This is funny.
yeah, PG-16. So I was doing a really good job
you've
until
done a
this
great job so
No, we're just at 16.
16.
Hey, we'll just, we're good.
So I bought the house from this gay couple who were really big Disney fans, and so like the whole house, they still live there when I went to look at the property. And so when I went through the house, they had all these like weird antique Disney things, and the even the fence in my backyard is painted like from the It's a Small World, like the little flowers at the very end.
Okay.
And so
Were you sold?
Absolutely. I know you don't really know me, but I'm
exactly
a kind of a
what I
wild one.
wanted. Yeah.
I was like, this is my house. So shortly after moving in, a friend of mine came to visit from Chicago, and he was getting picked up from a friend of his. And his friend says, I feel like I've been to that house before. And I said, well, get the dirt.
Yeah.
Figure out what you know about the history of my house.
It's a party house.
It's a party house. And
I see.
But like exotic party.
So he comes back the next day, and we're eating breakfast out on the patio. And I said, well, what'd you find out? And he goes, he's a very soft-spoken man. And he goes, well, that part of your property and my room and that room, you might want to disinfect. And I said, good to know.
That's crazy. So what did you think when you first walked in? Was it just like a shock? I mean,
Not
that's
at
crazy.
all. I knew it was my house. When I saw the listing, I was like, that's my house.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
So was there?
And then I opened the door and I said to my realtor, I said, I'm just gonna say this to myself right now. Welcome home. And I said that out loud as I walked into the door.
That's awesome.
Your realtor will love that.
What year?
Yeah.
What year did you pick that house up? A couple years ago? 3 years ago?
Almost 3 years ago.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Perfect timing.
Was there a we'll call it a dungeon in one of those rooms?
That was what I was
yes,
alluding to.
kind
Wait a
of.
second.
Hold on a minute.
Oh,
So
wow.
one of the
PG-16,
rooms-
PG-16.
PG-16.
All I said was
This is
dungeon.
100% 16.
We're just talking about fixtures and fittings, okay?
Hold on. If your 16-year-old kid knows about this stuff, it's not my fault. I'm not the one who taught him.
No. There
So there was the guest room. I love it. Had when I went to look at it, it had nothing but a massage chair right in the middle of the room. And that was it.
What about the hooks?
And then there's these bondage hooks that are drilled into the
No
wall.
way.
Yeah,
Yes.
the whole thing, and they left them.
Now we're talking.
Where is this
They
located?
left the hooks?
I'm in Summerlin.
Yeah, they didn't want to
South.
damage the
Wow.
wall.
And you know what's so funny is Summerlin's supposed to be like the whole rich,
I'm on the edge. I'm on the edge.
that's
Living on
money
the edge.
over there though.
Yeah, on the edge. Not to be confused with edging.
No, that's definitely not PG-16.
Like we're talking landscaping, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, all right.
So basically, I have a party house. It's meant to host fun, interesting, exotic events.
Right.
Do you have a big? It's like a big lot and like a pool and all that stuff.
Yeah,
or-
there's a pool.
Oh, it sounds
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I think pools are desirable, man. And they
Yeah.
really they bring it up, right? The value of the home. I would never put a pool in when I buy a home. You know what I mean? But as far as buying it at the time you buy, I would do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. It's just a waste of money.
So when I worked for a hedge fund, when we were buying in like 2009, I think, and then I was like deciding which homes to buy, and then at first we were buying all these homes for cheap, and they had amazing pools.
Yeah.
And we thought, if we buy a house with a pool, it's going to be better. However, like a few months later, we had this equation that we did for the rehab. And if anything costs more than $2,500 to fix on the pool, even if it was like an $80,000 pool, we would just fill the pool in. So pools are really cool.
They are.
But they
get
they're more
expensive.
they're expensive and it's maintenance, but they are really cool and they'll make your home sell in 3 nanoseconds.
I'm about to replaster the swimming pool.
How much?
Well, it's going to be for just the plaster and the tile. It's going to be $9,000.
Yeah.
And that
Those
doesn't-
companies are doing all right right now.
And that doesn't include what we already owe him for fixing the spa, and then we have a pump that we bought, the variable timing pump that we need him to install, and that's going to be another $1,700.
So pool life is
So,
pricey.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, this pool is 28 years old, 29 years old, and it has not been replastered or anything. It's going to be the first major overhaul, but it's going to cost probably, I don't know, 10, 11 grand to do the whole
That's
thing.
pretty nuts,
So
yeah.
it's not cheap. Pools are great, but if you don't really use them, it's a lot of expense.
What about you, Mike? You got a pool in your place?
No.
No.
I grew up in L.A. and we had a pool, and I was the pool boy, and I had to do the chemicals and clean it and change the filter, and I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that again.
Did you ever go to
It's a lot of work.
those pools where all the kids would go? It's like what do they call them? The plunge or something like that?
The public pool?
The public pool, yeah, like where everybody would go.
Where all
and
the pedophiles go?
Well, I had a swimming pool as a kid, so
Not
I tried
back
to
in my
avoid
day.
those.
I
Not
know.
back-
we always, everybody in my neighborhood, we all had a pool.
Yeah, we all
And
had
in the
pools.
summer, all us kids, we'd be playing out in the street, we'd play tag, and then when it got dark, we'd go swim in someone's pool and play Marco Polo,
Yeah.
and oh gosh, we just had so much fun doing
Yeah,
that.
but I only grew up like maybe 30 miles from Mike. It's the same thing. We all had swimming pools, and
Well, in England, if you had a pool, you were rich.
you were like
You were like really.
you
up
were the
there.
1%ers.
So when I bought my first house, this was in like 2008 or
Yeah.
something, before the crash.
Yeah.
Before I got into real estate, and then I was like, let's get a pool, and then I got like a fancy pool. And then I was like on Facebook, like, look at my pool.
Hey, let me ask you a question though.
England?
In England, what kind of like shorts do they wear? Is it those like real tight ones that come up where it shows everything?
I mean, I played a lot of
Banana
rugby and
hammocks?
those sort of things. Yeah.
Right?
I mean-
Is that not what they wear, or do they wear that?
I mean, I
That's
couldn't.
more
I couldn't
European,
comment.
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of rugby, so we had like my rugby shorts. But I couldn't really comment on the shorts. It wouldn't be fair for me to
Yeah.
do so because I've gone native.
You've got native.
Yeah, I'm
TMI. Oh my God.
I'm American.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been like assimilated into the Borg hive.
Right. So your maintenance on your pool over here, Jamie, you have a pool, right? Correct? Okay. What is it high cost for you to maintain this pool?
About $135 a month.
That's not bad. I mean, I think
It's-
that's did it
it's
increase?
standard.
Did it increase because of everybody's been saying materials and stuff is not there? Did those
It's all
costs increase?
labor. It's all labor and chemicals.
Yeah. Did
Nothing increased.
nothing
for me.
increased at all?
No.
I say
you,
to
you
my
have a pool man though that you pay to come do the chemicals every week.
Yeah, I
and
tried
stuff?
it.
It's
a
really
couple
hard.
years ago, and it
It was,
it started
yeah,
to turn green.
turn green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say
It
to
can
my
be
clients, on average, if you got a pool, figure like $200 a month in the budget because
Yeah.
something always breaks or something
yes,
happens.
things break all
so
out,
like
too.
$135 ish, and then figure like 200 on average for the year, and then some people just really want a pool because they've never had one.
Yeah.
Other people, with the way the market is now, like reconfigure that, like you have maybe 90% less choice in the market right now if you want a house with a pool than if you get one without a pool. I'd say about 90%. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe that's strong, but
Maybe it's strong.
Yeah.
but I mean, if you're set on the pool, your options are much less, and it's way more competitive to get those homes.
But I would definitely say, from what I've seen of people who own pools, it seems like unless you have kids, it may not really be worth it to have one because they're the ones who really enjoy it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a lot of retired clients who are just wondering why they have a pool.
yeah.
And
well, the grandkids might come over.
yeah,
I mean,
but
but
they're-
that's- yeah.
they've got a better pool at their parents'
Right,
house.
but a
so-
lot of but I think honestly that they are great if you actually use them. But they're if you're not going to use it that often, it's a big expense.
Yep.
That's
So the elephant in the room right now is our home's going to continue to go up. And I want to talk about that because this is part of the topic of the show. And we're going to bring in Jamie about her thoughts on it. But if you look at it, there's 3 cities that hit record numbers beyond Las Vegas. Las Vegas didn't even hit the top 3. And what's crazy about it is you got Phoenix, Seattle, and San Diego all had higher homes, the cost of homes. And you're starting to see this in Vegas where we're starting to come down. Are we going to continue that direction? The U.S. had an increase again, highest since this index, 1987, I think, for prices of homes, highest they've ever had. They hit a record number last month. Now they're hitting it again this month. Is it going to continue? Not just in Las Vegas, but overall. What do you think, Matt? You think this is going to keep going here in Las Vegas?
I hope not. When I say I hope not, I mean, I think now that it's going to creep up incrementally, right? I think that not all the inflation or the quantitative easing of it's not called quantitative easing anymore.
Quantitative easing.
Printing money out of thin air, right? Still
doing it, though.
still has to percolate into real assets. So that we're going to get that creep, and I would hope that we just have like a steady, it goes up steadily from here with no jumps.
Double-digit increases across the country on almost all the states. Double-digit.
I don't see Vegas carrying that at the moment. I don't see that it can carry that, but we'll find out.
Okay, do you think this is a timing thing?
I mean,
right?
when
Because
I say carry it, I don't think that. I think that there's going to be. I mean, people with money always have money. I don't see like double-digit increases like in the final quarter. Like
so you think this is really going to start to taper off? You don't think this is going to be...
What does taper off mean? Like,
well, I think the consumer confidence, yeah.
I hope so. But like, I mean, I can't, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but like, I would hope that we have like, it flattens out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping it's flattened out, and I'm hoping that, that it's calmed down a bit.
What about you, Rich? What do you think, man?
I think we've possibly hit our plateau.
Yeah.
I think that hitting that same number 2 months in a row, and then just considering that, like, we did have a very high run up in the last year, but maybe it was kind of like, maybe that run up was there to be had, but we've kind of gone through it already, and there's no way we're going to have another 23%.
Yeah, but consumer confidence is still there. And I feel like there's just like with Jamie over here, she thinks that she might miss the boat as far as buying a house if she waits a year or two. What makes you think that those consumers out there aren't going to keep driving those prices up in all these this record numbers?
Because in January they're going to stop printing money and interest rates are going to start to go up again. So I think that's going to change things a lot. I really do. I think that's going to make a big difference.
We are starting to see inflation, and the Fed will try and keep that in check. Yeah. But who knows when they will actually raise the rates?
Yeah, I think they're going to do it though. I mean, I think
we'll see a quarter point
at
some point.
Dan, what do you think about the rates?
I think they're going to raise taxes too.
Yeah, I think they're going to raise rates, but I don't think they're going to do it until probably the second quarter of next year.
Really?
Maybe
Well,
even
you're the
further. And I'm going to
expert,
tell you, when they raise rates, okay, they're going to raise the Fed's fund rate, but at the same time, right before that, they're going to stop purchasing bonds, in my opinion. So you're going to see almost like something
double
coincide.
whammy?
Yeah, it's a double whammy. You're going to start to see where the Fed is going to say, we're going to start to pull and taper from, because they're purchasing, I think it's like $20 billion in bonds a month.
I think it's 120 billion right
Is it 120 billion? Something
but
like
it was
that.
a lot higher earlier, like in 2020 and stuff.
They have to start tapering, and when they do, I mean, look, inflation right now is above 5. So we're normally at what? Do you guys know what that barometer is?
We want to be under 2 is usually
2.3 is about average.
I know about 5 because I'm just filling up my truck like crazy.
Right?
So I don't know about 5%.
So you look at this thing and you look at this this data that's come out. Phoenix has 26 months of record highs as far as purchasing homes. Why would Phoenix or why would Las Vegas? Why would you think that that's going to just go away?
Well, we're different markets.
Just cyclical.
Yeah.
I mean, they can only go up for so long before they got to start going the other direction.
Yeah, but people are thinking that there's a timing thing in this. I don't know if there's a timing thing, right? There's a correction?
Well, you were talking to Jamie about her, and I think Jamie probably makes good money, I'm guessing, and so that's probably one reason why you still have some good confidence. But a lot of people, as those prices we talked about this, I think a few weeks ago, a lot of people in this community, their income they're not self-employed, so they don't have good months and bad months. They're on fixed incomes, or they're on relatively fixed incomes, and they're not. While those prices of homes have gone up, their salaries have not. And so we're losing more and more people as each month as
more
home price
qualified
goes up.
buyers.
We're losing more and more qualified buyers and residents of Vegas, and that's one of the biggest draws for a lot of people moving here for many, many years was affordable lifestyle.
Right.
So that's a reason why I really think we're going to have to taper off, because it's not just about the people who do have confidence, which is great if you're self-employed. I'm self-employed. Sometimes I have great months. I could have a fantastic year this year, but then the next year I could make half that. But there are a lot of people who don't have lives like that here. That they may make tips, but they make relatively the same amount of money every year. With some fluctuation, and they are getting priced out. And so I think that's going to change things.
So I want to actually let's finish this. But it's a side. It's another topic.
Sure.
Yeah. So one thing I saw that's going to affect a lot of people is I saw there was an act being passed that is going to make give access, the IRS access to your bank accounts
Oh,
for all transactions.
Yeah,
Up to $600 and Venmo and like crypto.
that's
like
kinda,
dropping the reportable transaction limit down.
Yeah.
From
Well,
10,000?
no, it's not just the reportable transactions, but any bank account that has more than $600 of inflows and outflows.
Everything has to go to the IRS.
Yeah, and I don't understand what the heck they would do with that. I mean, if I
Tax
sold
you and put you to jail
well,
if
but
you don't pay your taxes.
if I sell, $10,000 worth of stock in my brokerage account and then move that to my checking account, I mean, do I have to
Ding.
explain where that came from? I'm already going to get a 1099 on the stock sale. So what are they going to do with that? Now, I can see it affecting.
Of course, they'll see where it came from, though. I
There
guess,
will
so.
be a paper trail,
Yeah.
but it could affect people on tips.
For sure.
But that's not a huge part of the economy.
But it's a huge part of the economy in the sense of how people spend their disposable income and how they file their taxes, which will compound like inflation pressures as well.
What they're trying to do is get a lot of the high income earners and get them back into tax compliance. But I just don't see this as really doing anything other than making it more complicated to do our taxes.
Yeah.
Am I going to have to explain
Well,
all the money going in and out of my checking account?
I saw that like if you had like an old like car, or like if you had you're selling stuff on Craigslist and you've got money going in and out your account, then you're going to have to pay tax on that secondhand thing that you sold. Like say you had like a secondhand like something.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
I have to pay income tax on it?
Yeah, I think so,
No,
right?
I mean, it would only be if you bought it and then resold it at a profit that you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only if you're just selling stuff like your old stuff that you bought, and you don't have to.
How are they going to know
like
the
that.
difference?
Well, they don't, and that's the thing.
That's not good.
Well, here's the thing: though. You're not going to have to explain. You're not going to have to explain everything in your checking account. I'm sure that's not what it is.
Unless there's a problem.
But what they are going to look for is, if you keep having repeated deposits over $600 into your checking account, and you're like self-employed or you're not self-employed, but you have nothing on your income taxes that matches those numbers,
Right.
then they're going to start. Then they might go,
Maybe.
hey, we should audit this person because they had $600,000 in deposits, all in $600 increments, but they only reported $200,000 in income. But that's what they're going to,
Jamie, do you think that the cost of living here is a lot higher than it was, let's say, when you first moved here?
I haven't noticed a difference.
No.
No.
Do you think that compared to where you're at in Oregon, I know it's a high cost living over there, correct? I mean, it's a lot higher than here.
I feel my life here is more affordable.
Do you really? Mm-hmm. And what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is going to start to kind of fade away a little bit, where if you have people continuously coming here, right, and then you have a lot of, just traffic of transitioning and things happening, eventually we're going to start to go up because the cost of life is
going to go up. It's
Right.
going to go way up.
But do you feel like it's going to get to a point where people aren't going to want to move to Vegas because it's just going to be too expensive to live here?
Probably at some point in the future, especially when the valley is full. Like I keep going on about that, but like
Well, they'll just spill over.
but they'll just
They'll-
start.
they'll
They'll,
go-
just start
No.
they'll start tearing down the east side and rebuilding.
Yeah, or they'll just
Maybe.
go all the way out to the Gene.
Well,
Yeah,
a bit
yeah, they'll go out.
smaller.
They'll go out to the. Yeah, they'll go out to Prim.
They'll go all the way to Mesquite.
Yeah.
They can do that.
So you have no thought that you're worried about. You know what? If I have to, I'll just rent, and like you said, you might just jump out of here, right? Because it's just too much. It's too expensive, right?
I don't think I'll jump
She's
out of here
mobile.
anytime soon. I generally don't live my life with a bunch of fear. I have like, for a person who's self-employed, I do have quite a bit of confidence. There's absolutely no security in my job. Anything can get shut down at any point, but I have no doubt that I'll be okay.
How were you affected last year when things shut down?
Very little.
Really? So you were one of
I
those
just
lucky.
worked less.
Yeah, you just work less, but you probably made enough, and you were make a good living that it's not going to really see.
Jamie's also like a clothes designer and seamstress, and so you made
Yeah.
a ton of. How many masks did you make?
Thousands, over 1,000 masks last year.
Really?
Like, but really fancy masks.
Yeah, I made these clown masks, and it was kind of a joke.
Scary.
Yeah.
It's kind kind of a joke at first. I just made this clown mask and I posted a picture of it, and people were like, "That's cool," and I got some orders. And then I posted another photo, and I got the hug of death, and got like over 200 orders overnight. And I said, "Well, looks like
but like
I'm
at
doing
$35 a pop
Yeah.
for the masks,
Yeah.
but fancy masks.
But people were paying them. So how did you ship them? Did you have?
Well, they
Venmo
paid
you?
me Venmo or Cash App or
Wow.
PayPal. Yeah, and then I just shipped them out.
And what, you just post it online? The power of internet?
Yeah, well, I have a clothing company, so I
Oh,
have
wow.
a little bit of a presence online.
Yeah.
Man, she's a true entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, yeah, so the sales came abundant.
So do you run a sweatshop or?
I mean,
We don't use that word. But yes, no, I don't. Years ago, I looked into getting overseas manufacturing and was, visited a couple places and
Yeah.
decided not to do it because part of my business is that I, have really great relationships with my clients, and I work one-on-one. They know I do custom costumes for circus performers. So it's
Oh, wow.
very niche. It's very specialty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not an Amazon product, is it?
No, definitely not Amazon
Is that
product.
your main?
Entertainment is my main income. My clothing company is it's been on the back burner for quite a while, except for last year when it was my primary income. But it kind of fluctuates because I have so many cookie jars that I'm putting my hands into. So you never know what's going to be on the front line.
Yeah.
I have a question. I am very curious. What is the tattoo on your front part of your neck here? What is that symbol?
This is symbols the koru, the young fern in Maori culture.
Oh,
Do you
really?
know Maori?
No.
Familiar? New Zealand, the
Zealand,
Maoris.
Kiwi.
Yeah.
Really?
you been to how many countries have you been to?
36.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So
All over.
you've been going around then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like seen, it's seen on like warships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I think the men will traditionally get them tattooed like on their
Yeah.
cheeks.
So is your, not to try to get too graphic because we're, 16, right? PG. But is most of your body or a lot of your body's filled with tattoos?
Most of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
When did you start getting into tattoos?
I wanted tattoos since I was very little. Like I knew that it was something I wanted. And then my sister bought a machine and gave me my first tattoo when I was 17.
Oh my gosh.
We had like a tattoo party. Yeah, she's not, but she's an artist. That's cool. So yeah, we had like a night at her house, and she's like, "Mom's gonna kill me." And I said, "Don't worry."
This one right here is kind of handy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes,
show
it
that
is.
real quick.
Yeah.
Put your arm up a little bit.
There you go.
Measuring tape.
What is that?
This is called a measuring tape.
Measuring tape?
That'd be kind of handy,
Yeah.
it just,
So some of my tattoos are handy.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah,
kinda
that's
cool.
cool. So you guys have anything else? We'll end the show here in a second, but Matt, you got anything else to say about what's going on in the housing market here? What's
Not
going on with
really.
deals, man? Are you still?
Deals are, I've got a couple listings at the moment that I need to get into contract.
Yeah.
Been fighting with one of them. Had the perfect buyer come through, and everything was perfect, cash, everything super flexible for my seller. Everyone's happy, but they wanted to build an RV structure, and then I said, look, before you spend any money or do anything, let's figure out where the septic tank is exactly.
Right.
And it's in the wrong place.
Oof.
So
That's a problem.
so everyone that's come over that's been really interested has wanted to build a big structure,
Yeah.
but the septic tank's in the wrong place. It's there, so that's a scratch now. So I need to find a buyer that doesn't want to build something and wants a piece of grass for their dog to do a poop on.
Yeah.
And that's the person I'm looking for now. And I know
Person
they're out
with
there.
a dog.
I know they're out there.
Gotta have a dog.
I know they're out there, but that's a half acre for like 1.1 million up in
that's
the
crazy,
northwest.
Oh, that's fun.
So I want to say one thing too. You guys, first off, Rich and also Mike over here, you guys talked a lot about before the show about doing. We had capital gains and kind of what's going on with that. Is there any news that's come out that you guys are maybe kind of discussing before the show that you want to kind of bring up? That's maybe something you want to enlighten the audience about.
Well, they're talking about changing the capital gains, raising it.
Okay.
They that's something they want to bring it from like 15 to what, 28 or something.
Well, it depends because it depends on your income level.
Yeah.
That was the big thing. It was about it. And that they did want to, but the big thing that they're really trying to do is they're trying to go after the higher income earners.
Certainly.
So, and I know that I think it was going to be if you have more than $1 million in income, they were going to raise the capital gains rate substantially. So, I mean, if you're someone who is a high income annual earner, you might definitely want to think about selling some of your property now before those new laws go into effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, paying capital gains tax at today's rates, that's not a bad deal. I know you can 1031 it into a new property, but gosh.
But then you just defer the taxes.
But then you're deferring the taxes,
and
and
if they raise the capital gains rate, you'll end up with more.
Yeah,
but capital gains are a big deal. It's a lot of things people don't like. They don't often think about when it comes to owning property. When with your primary residence, it's usually not as big of a deal. You get these very large exemptions. You get $250,000 per person, or $500 if you're married. So a lot of times when you sell your primary home and you make money off it, you don't pay capital gains.
Yeah,
taxes,
if you make more than 500,000, you're pretty happy.
You've made so much money. It's okay if you pay those capital gains.
Yeah.
But when you own property, when you own like a second home, a vacation home, a rental property, then you most definitely have capital gains that comes into purview. And a lot of people do own second properties. And so I definitely would say for a lot of people right now, if you've got second and third properties, you might want to think about selling them just because you are going to probably
switch.
Yeah, you're probably going to face substantially higher capital gains. Now, one great thing about Nevada is we don't have state income taxes, so you don't pay any state capital gains. So if you're looking for a place to invest, there's that added benefit of investing in property here in Nevada. But federally, no one can escape that. So, but yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
And that's a good point. I also have a question for you, Mike, about talking about Jamie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jamie's cash.
Talk about Jamie.
Well, Jamie's in the room.
She's in the room, right?
We'll just talk about it.
You can pretend I'm not here.
Sorry, everybody's off.
So I have a question about it. The fact that she's a cash person, right? And she said she's 43 and she doesn't really have anything set up. Maybe she doesn't want to get something set up. But Jamie, would you go to somebody like Mike as a financial planner if he can give you some type of blueprint to get started? What would you do for her, Mike?
What would I do for her?
We've got that Oregon thing in common.
Being self-employed, she's got a lot of options. I mean, that's really cool. Like she can do her own 401k and pop a ton of money away into there. And
is it too late though? So let's say you're past 30. Is that too late? I mean, because I think a lot of people just give up.
Yeah, there are two great times to get started in financial planning: when you get your first job, and right now.
Because Mike said so.
Hey, if I say so, and this is now on the internet, so it must be true. But no, you got to start.
Yeah.
And
do you deal with a lot of people that maybe are kicking themselves that they didn't start sooner? Because I think a lot of people wait and wait and wait.
I think
and then
the average person actually starts in their 40s.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's kind of crazy. But if every 20-year-old learned to save 10%, holy cow, they'd be
laughing
amazing.
by the time you're 40.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It just seems like it's a hard thing to do because
I think it's something your parents teach you.
Well, I think
the schools don't teach it, and that's a huge
Of course
problem.
they don't, and that's disgusting.
Yeah, no, that's very frustrating to me. My dad, he was very financially astute, and he did teach me. When I got my first job and they had a 401k, he says, "Okay, you got to sign up for the 401k." Yes, Dad.
Right.
But I'm sure glad I did that now. So,
well, do you think a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck though?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
So when I started my first job in England, like first proper job, it was in a supermarket, Tesco's, that became like a global company.
Sure.
And I got some free shares and I bought a few extra shares. And then I never took a dividend. I always signed the form to just buy spares. And then I only worked there for a couple of years, but I got like a few £1,000s worth of shares now. And just the same started, that was like when I was 17.
Sure.
And if you start young, it grows.
Well, here's the thought, though, and I think a lot of people are trying to hedge against inflation. They see that money's being printed. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. I think like roughly 50% of the population's on food stamps, and they're struggling a little bit. Some people aren't back to work. How do you know when like that's the time to do it though? Because I think a lot of people want to be that way. Maybe they're not educated, but it's like
You just start, like Mike said. You just got to start.
You just got to do it.
Even if it's just $50 a month, I think that's the way.
You need to get in the
know.
habit. You may not be able to start saving 10%, but if you can start with $50 a month, you can start there and then work your way. And 75 a month, 100 a month. And I mean, it's doable. You have to adjust your
You
lifestyle.
just have to willingness.
I will say personally that Mike only became my financial planner about, I don't know, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
We shamed him.
hey, but you got to start, and I think it's a timing thing. Maybe it's like funny when you buy a house, it's the same thing. You look at it and you're like, I want to buy a house, I don't want to pay rent. Maybe mentally you're not there though. You know, maybe it's still like it's not. Everybody's not in it to buy a home.
The neat thing is starting, some sort of savings program is not a commitment like buying a house.
Exactly.
It's a lot simpler. Can you start with $50 a month? I mean, that's not a mortgage.
Here's the hard
That's
part.
not too bad.
And you can
You
always
start building
pull
a
back
nest
for
egg.
minute if you
Yeah.
have to.
Right. You start building a nest egg, and guess what? You start looking at it every month and going, okay, well, I got that much money there. The hard part is probably not going in and touching it, right?
It depends on what type of account it is. If it's a retirement account, you can't touch that till 59 and a half. But if it's just a regular investment account, you can use that.
Although there are some exceptions, and sometimes
We can do
but,
72 Ts, and there are a lot of different ways. But in general, But I think the average person really ought to be putting money away. And self-employed people, they've got awesome opportunities. Create your own 401k. You can put away over $50,000 a year into that.
Right.
It's a heck of a
One
deal.
quick question. We're going to end the show, but Matt, I want you to answer this question here. We always try to answer questions, and so Running at Altitude said, "How is the new construction? Are there still lotteries going on?"
Still lotteries. Still builders can get what they like. I have clients come up to me that say we want to buy a new home now. There are some move-in ready homes, but it's still like very competitive with the builders.
Yeah,
to
I
get
mean,
a new
but,
home, and
right.
you're still looking at like 6 to 8, 9 months out.
Wow.
Oh,
So
wow.
they still got those lot premiums and everything going on. Like, what's the world
I haven't been in a competitive lot premium for a few months, so I couldn't say about that. But it's still like super competitive, and builders are getting what they want because if someone wants a new home, they just want a new home.
Yeah. Can I give a?
Well, and they don't have to bid it against someone else. So
I mean, they have in the past. I haven't been in a competitive bid situation recently, but I still believe it's pretty competitive.
Can I give a plug just for a
Sure.
moment before
Plug
we
it.
sign out? Okay. I have a lovely condo in North Las Vegas, directly across the street from Craig Ranch Park. It's 1,648 square feet. It's 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and it has a 2-car attached garage in a gated security complex, and it's lovely, and it's listed for $270,000.
I'm sold.
Just wanted to throw it out.
I'm going 280, 285. I'm putting the offer in.
290. Come on.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting.
We only had a realtor here.
Right. I don't think we have enough. You guys got anything else to say? Matt? No. How about you? Anything else to say?
No, just wanted to plug my condo listing. That's all.
Plug yourself, man. How does somebody get a hold of you, right?
Oh, hey, I'm Rich Solis. I'm an attorney. I do estate planning. I'm also a realtor. My website is www.attorneylasvegas.com, or you
such
can
a
reach
cool
me at
website.
richardkevin@attorneylasvegas.com.
Knocked it out of the park. Mike, Peak Financial Solutions.
PeakFinancialSolutions.com. That's where you can find me, Mike at PeakFinancialSolutions.com. Or you could go to greatestfinancialadvisor.com. That works too.
Guys, we got people contacting Mike from the show. So hopefully Mike keeps getting those contacts, right?
Yeah. Hey, and we need more likes.
Yes.
We got all these people in in the chat room.
Yeah, click the like
And
button.
we need more likes. Come
Yes.
on, guys, help us out, please.
How about you over there, Jamie? Go
Well,
ahead.
I can help out with those likes. I can be found online at Evezia Dakini on all of the networks, and that is very difficult to spell, so maybe we can type it in.
I'm curious how you even got that. Where did that come from?
Oh, it's another story.
That's what we like to hear.
Can I tell the story?
That's a
16.
pause.
Given to
16.
Hey.
the name was given to me in
Sweet
2001
16.
before I started performing. When I
I'll
started
type it in there.
performing, it became it was the name that I chose.
Okay.
And And no one ever has this name, so it was very easy. But back in the early days, the Google search, if you were like Evesia, it would say, "Did you mean evil?"
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's so funny,
I'm gonna
man.
type
So
it
people
in.
are going to search for her and her information.
And
So,
search at your own risk.
oh, search at your
Oh,
own risk. Wow. So this must be really intriguing because I have no idea
Okay,
what
there we
she's
go.
talking about.
I just
All
typed
right,
my
she
name
just put
in.
it in there.
So you guys, we're going to end the show. Thank you guys all for tuning in.
There she is.
And also, you know, if you guys like the content, please subscribe. We want more people. Like I said, we're cruising at a very fast pace right now to 1,000 subscribers. So keep hitting that like button. Anybody out there that likes the content, subscribe. And we'll be back here on Saturday. Thank you guys all. And if you guys want to have anybody to get contact here, we'll put all the information in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you Saturday. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench Podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.